Have you ever wondered how a seemingly barren desert could give birth to one of the most influential civilizations in history? Let's travel back in time to the 7th century Arabian Peninsula. This was a land of stark contrasts, scorching sands, rugged mountains, but also vibrant oases and bustling trade routes. It was a crossroads of cultures where ancient empires like the Byzantines and the Sassanids met nomadic tribes. But something extraordinary was about to happen. A new force, a new idea was stirring in the heart of this landscape, ready to reshape not just the region, but the entire world. This wasn't just about conquering lands. It was about the birth of a civilization founded on a revolutionary concept, the sacredness of knowledge. Imagine a world where the pursuit of knowledge wasn't just a hobby for the elite, but a divine calling, a duty for every single person. This was the core principle that ignited the Islamic Golden Age. The very first revealed word of the Quran to the Prophet Muhammad was Iqra, which means read. This single command set the stage for centuries of intellectual curiosity and discovery. It wasn't just about reading scripture. It was a call to read the world, to understand the universe as a grand open book filled with signs from its creator. This idea transformed society. Suddenly, learning became an act of worship. This profound respect for knowledge created an environment where learning didn't just survive, it thrived. From this bedrock, a powerful intellectual movement was born. The early Islamic civilization didn't see faith and reason as enemies. Instead, they were two wings of the same bird, both essential for soaring to greater truths. Knowledge was seen as a path to understanding God's creation in all its magnificent detail. To study the stars was to appreciate the precision of the cosmos. To study anatomy was to marvel at the complexity of the human body. This holistic view meant that no field of study was off limits. Theology, philosophy, medicine, astronomy, algebra, they were all interconnected threads in a single, beautiful tapestry of understanding. This drive to comprehend the world wasn't just for personal enlightenment. It was a collective mission to build a society based on justice, wisdom, and a deeper connection to the divine. This thirst for knowledge wasn't confined to their own borders. A massive translation movement began, one of the most ambitious intellectual projects in human history. Scholars in Baghdad, Cordoba, and Cairo didn't just preserve ancient texts. They actively sought them out. They traveled far and wide, collecting manuscripts from Greece, Persia, India, and China. Works by Aristotle, Plato, Euclid, Galen, and Ptolemy were painstakingly translated into Arabic. But they didn't just stop at translation. This was not a simple copy and paste job. They critically engaged with these ancient ideas, debated them, and built upon them. This synthesis of different intellectual traditions created a fertile ground for innovation. They were standing on the shoulders of giants to see even further. The Arabic language itself became the lingua franca of science and philosophy for centuries, a universal tool for sharing discoveries across a vast and diverse civilization. The heart of this intellectual explosion was the city of Baghdad, specifically a legendary institution known as the House of Wisdom or Beit al-Hikmah. Picture this, a grand complex that was part library, part translation center, and part research institute. It was a magnet for the greatest minds of the age, regardless of their faith or background. Christians, Jews, and Muslims worked side by side, united by their shared passion for discovery. Here, scholars like Al-Kindi, known as the philosopher of the Arabs, worked to harmonize Greek philosophy with Islamic thought. It was a bustling hub of debate and collaboration. Imagine mathematicians arguing over new equations, astronomers charting the movements of planets with new instruments, and physicians discussing the latest medical treatments. The House of Wisdom wasn't just a building. It was a symbol of an entire civilization's commitment to intellectual freedom and progress. And the fruits of this commitment were truly staggering. Let's talk about mathematics. The numerals we use every day, the so-called Arabic numerals, actually originated in India. But it was Islamic scholars who adopted them, refined them, and crucially introduced the concept of zero to the Western world. Imagine doing long division with Roman numerals. It's nearly impossible. The introduction of this system revolutionized commerce, engineering, and science. A scholar named Al-Khwarizmi, from whose name we get the word algorithm, wrote a groundbreaking book that introduced a systematic way of solving linear and quadratic equations. The title of his book, Al-Kabir, gave us the word algebra. He didn't just invent a new branch of math. He gave humanity a powerful new tool for problem solving. Then there's the field of medicine. While much of Europe was mired in superstition, hospitals in the Islamic world were models of care and scientific inquiry. They were secular institutions, open to everyone. They had separate wards for different diseases, pharmacies, and even medical schools attached to them. Physicians like Al-Razi, known in the West as Rhazes, wrote comprehensive medical encyclopedias that were used as standard textbooks in Europe for centuries. He was the first to accurately identify and describe diseases like smallpox and measles. Another giant, Ibn Sina or Avicenna, wrote the Canon of Medicine, a monumental work that synthesized all known medical knowledge of the time. It was so influential that it remained a primary medical reference in European universities well into the 17th century. They also pioneered fields like ophthalmology and surgery, developing new instruments and techniques that saved countless lives. Let's look up at the sky. Astronomy was not just foretelling time or navigation. It was a way to understand the divine order. Islamic astronomers made incredible advances. They built sophisticated observatories, like the one in Moraga, where they created vast and highly accurate star charts. They questioned the Ptolemaic model of the universe, which placed the Earth at the center centuries before Copernicus. Scholars like Ibn al-Hazan made revolutionary discoveries in optics. He was the first to correctly explain how vision works, proposing that light travels from an object to the eye, not the other way around. He is often called the father of the modern scientific method, and empirical evidence. His work on optics directly influenced later European scientists like Roger Bacon and Johannes Kepler. This spirit of inquiry touched every aspect of life. In chemistry, scholars like Jabir ibn Hayyan or Geber moved beyond the mysticism of alchemy and laid the groundwork for modern chemistry. He introduced systematic experimentation and developed processes like distillation, crystallization, and filtration that are still used in laboratories today. In geography, travelers and scholars like Olidrisi created some of the most detailed and accurate maps of the known world, combining data from explorers with mathematical principles. Even fields like sociology were pioneered. With Ibn Khaldun's work, the Muqaddimah, which analyzed the rise and fall of civilizations with a stunningly modern approach. The innovations were everywhere, from agricultural techniques that made the desert bloom to architectural marvels that still stand today. So, what happened? Why don't we hear more about this golden age? Like all great civilizations, it faced challenges: internal political divisions, economic strains, and external invasions. Most notably, the devastating Mongol sack of Baghdad in 1258 dealt a severe blow. The destruction of the House of Wisdom was a symbolic and tragic end to an era. But the legacy didn't just vanish. The knowledge that had been so carefully gathered, translated, and expanded upon began to flow into Europe. Through trade routes, through the Crusades, and especially through centers of learning in Spain and Sicily, where cultures mixed, this vast body of knowledge was rediscovered. The translations from Arabic into Latin during the 12th and 13th centuries sparked a new intellectual fire in Europe. The works of Aristotle, preserved and commented on by Islamic philosophers, became central to European scholasticism. The medical knowledge of Ibn Sina and Al-Razi transformed European medicine. The mathematical innovations of Al-Khwarizmi provided the tools needed for the scientific revolution. In a very real sense, the Islamic Golden Age provided the essential bridge between the ancient world and the European Renaissance. It wasn't just a passive holder of knowledge. It was an active creator, an innovator that helped lay the very foundations of our modern, scientific, and intellectual world. The story of this civilization is a powerful reminder that knowledge knows no borders, no religion, and no race. It's a testament to what humanity can achieve when it values curiosity, embraces reason, and believes that understanding the world is one of the highest callings. The rise of this civilization from the sands of Arabia was fueled by a simple yet profound idea: to read, to question, and to seek knowledge wherever it may be found. And that is a lesson that is just as relevant and inspiring today as it was 14 centuries ago. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into history fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories about the ideas that shaped our world. See you next time.